You are the doctor, they say, who can work miracles.
Hello, Kajal.
Street beggars make more money if they're legitimately blind. So the stepmother poured sulfuric acid in each of her eyes.
Maybe 1% of vision remains. There's no chance to save it. She reminds me of Lily.
I know as long as we are together, we'll be okay. I will always protect you.
There is some part of me that thinks if I can help Kajal out of the dark, maybe
Let's take her.
I can help Lily out of hers.
You cannot change the past, Ming.
She doesn't deserve to suffer anymore.
Thought you said it was impossible.
I have to succeed.
I'm with you, Ming.
Just some things in the past that I can't get over.
What if you turn hardship into greatness, anger into serenity? Everything changes. Make your life a masterpiece. Welcome, I'm Yannick, your host, and now joining me, Dr. Ming Wang. Dr. Ming Wang is a Harvard-trained and MIT graduate and is one of the few laser eye surgeons in the world today who holds a doctorate degree in laser physics. The film Sight, distributed by Angel Studios, is based on Dr. Wang's autobiography, From Darkness to Sight, co-starring Greg Kinnear. As a teenager, Ming fought poverty and hardship in China and came to America with only $50 and earned 2 doctorate degrees, one in laser physics and one in medicine, and graduated with the highest honors from Harvard Medical Schools and MIT. Amniotic Membrane Contact Lens, which Dr. Wang invented and for which he donated his patents, by the way, worth $5 billion yearly to the world, has been used by tens of thousands of eye doctors in nearly every nation, and millions of patients have been helped. Wang Foundation for Sight Restoration has helped patients from over 40 states in the United States and 55 countries, with all sight restoration surgeries performed free of charge. Dr. Wang was named the Kiwanis Nashvillian of the Year for his lifelong dedication to help blind orphan children from around the world. And he also grew up through the Cultural Revolution in China and is truly one of the greatest scientists of our time. Now join me to this incredible discovery of how to live a purpose-driven life. What is a purpose-driven life? Why you ought to live a purpose-driven life, and how actually live a purpose-driven life. Welcome, Dr. Ming Wang, to the show. It's such a honor to finally have you from Nashville, Tennessee.
Thank you, Yannick. Thank you. Really appreciate the opportunity to be on your show, Yannick. Why knowledge matters. And before we go on further, Yannick, I want to make sure you are recording. Yes.
Yes, of course, we are recording. And now, of course, we get first and foremost a testimony of 45 minutes of Dr. Ming Wang, of his incredible journey, really, a purpose-driven life. Cite a purpose-driven life. It's yours, Dr. Ming Wang.
Thank you, Yannick. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Everyone on the Why Knowledge Matters show. This is Dr. Ming Wang. I'm honored to join Yannick for this show of his. And on the screen, you see the title of my presentation, A Purpose-Driven Life. And also you see my contact information. And I suggest the audience, you can take a picture of the screen and later on, you know how to get hold of me. On the screen, you see the free site link. There's a free link to watch the film site. And the film site tells the story of a Chinese American immigrant, Dr. Wang, and his foundation's work in helping blind orphan children from around the world and in developing amniotic membrane contact lens, which has helped millions. Today, we're going to go through 45 minutes of presentation, A Purpose-Driven Life. Then Yannick and I will open up for discussion, for Q&A, and so we'll have a good time. So here we go. Yannick introduced me already, so I will not repeat my intro other than pointing out the amniotic membrane contact lens, which he mentioned, is indeed a major industry now today, $5 billion a year amniotic membrane contact lens industry. I have donated my patent initially, so even though I did not made any money myself, however, I'm happy that the technology has helped transform the world and helped restore eyesight in millions. The film Sight is about the invention of amniotic membrane contact lens. Now, I would like to go into a few minutes telling everyone a little bit about where I came from. I grew up in China during Cultural Revolution. From 1966 to 1976, the government shut down all universities and colleges of entire China and forcefully deported every single high school graduate to some of the poorest part of the country and condemned each one of us a life sentence of hard labor and poverty. Over 10 years of Cultural Revolution, by shutting down all universities and colleges of entire China for 10 years, they sent away to labor camp for life 20 million young people. 1974, I was 14. I finished my 9th grade. I was a straight A student. I wanted to go to medical school. I wanted to be a doctor. However, I could not even go to high school. If I enrolled in high school, I would be kicked out of school and got sent away to labor camp. In order to avoid this devastating fate of being sent away to labor camp, I could not go to high school, and I tried to learn Chinese violin, erhu, E-R-H-U, a 2-string instrument, and also learn to dance. Because if I could play a music instrument and if I could dance, I could get into government song and dance troupe and therefore avoid being sent away to labor camp. That did not work, but I got lucky. 1976 rolled around, 10 years into Cultural Revolution. Cultural Revolution ended in 1976, and China reopened all of its colleges for the first time in 10 years. As you see in the film Sight, mom and dad came back from school and brought a newspaper, show me that there's a chance to go to college again. I thought I'd never be able to go back to school. But my parents want me to jump 3 years ahead overnight, practically, to the graduating class, having never studied 10th, 11th, 12th, because they're afraid that government could change their mind next year and shut down colleges for another 10 years. Fortunately, with my parents' help, I worked extremely hard. And in 1977, I got into University of Science and Technology of China to study laser physics. And in 1982, with $50, I came to America to study laser physics PhD. I received my PhD in laser physics at University of Maryland and finished postdoc at MIT. Then my old dream of wanting to be a doctor reemerged, and I went to a professor, admission director of a medical school, but I was discriminating against. He did not look at my resume, he looked at me. As you see in the film Sight, you have the scene. He said, "Where are you from?" I said, "China." He said, "Look, it's hard to get into medical school even for American-born student. You're from China, you're not good. Don't waste your time. You have no chance getting into medical school." And I thought, I fought once after Cultural Revolution in China and to have a future, but that was for myself. This time I can fight again, but this time not just for myself, but also for everyone else who has been discriminated against simply based on the color of their skin. I work even harder, and I got in after postdoc at MIT. I got into Harvard Medical School and MIT Joint MD program. And in 1991, I graduated from with my second doctorate degree. My first one was a PhD in laser physics. The second one was an MD. I invited my parents over, and the film Sight has been dedicated to my parents. The reason I got 2 doctorate degrees, one in laser physics, one in medicine, is because medicine is so technologically driven. Most of the doctors have strong training in medicine, an MD doctorate degree, but most of them did not have the chance to study in depth the technology side of it. So with 2 doctorate degrees, one in medicine, one in laser physics, I felt I could be a unique laser eye surgeon who knows not just medicine, but also the technology. I have performed over 55,000 laser vision corrections, including on over 4,000 doctors. This is a diploma of my Harvard and MIT joint MD program. In 1985, I also got a chance to meet then President Ronald Reagan. Today, my topic is, this is a show, Yannick's show called Why Knowledge Matters. So I'd like to share with you all what I've been trying to develop a purpose for myself, a purpose-driven life. All of us, we're lucky enough to spend a few decades on this planet. And I think it's important for all of us to develop a sense of what I'm about, what is my purpose. Today, I want to share with you 5 specific purposes that I've developed for myself. By no means have accomplished them yet, but I'm working very hard to try to accomplish. First, to share. I think as a human being who have the privilege of being able to walk on this planet for a few decades, it is important for us to share what we have with others. And that's my first purpose for life. And as I'm giving you 2 examples of what I've been trying to do to try to share what I have with others. The first example is because I recognize that I'm lucky to have not only a medical degree, but also a PhD degree in laser physics. So I want to share my technological expertise. So I published 10 textbooks on the technology side of ophthalmology eye surgery to try to help surgeons from around the world to improve their weak area, which is technology. Second example of sharing is in the film Sight, you see that I've developed this wonderful technology called Amniotic Membrane Contact Lens, which has been used to restore people's eyesight by using placenta. And I've decided to share. I put my patent online, and over 20-year period, went around the world to 50-some countries, taught without charging over 10,000 eye doctors how to use this technology. Today, as you see in the film Sight, amniotic membrane contact lens is now a $5 billion a year industry. Over 10,000 eye doctors from nearly every nation are using it, and millions of patients have had eyesight restored. Even though I did not make any money at all in this whole process because I donated my patent to begin with, but I'm happy that got a chance to share what I have. Second is to remember. I think all of us have different cultural roots, nationality, ethnicity. It is important for each of us to not forget where we came from, to remember our roots, but also to embrace the present and future. One example, what I've been trying to do to remember my Asian cultural roots, China root, is, remember I mentioned that during Cultural Revolution in China, I had to learn the Chinese violin, erhu, to escape labor camp. Now I use the instrument, I play the instrument to remind myself, to remember my cultural roots, and to present to America some of the best part of Chinese culture. So to share and to remember. Third purpose is to progress. I think, again, as a human being who has the opportunity to live on this planet for a few decades, we all have the responsibility to help progress human knowledge so that we can improve the quality of our lives. This Yannick's show, Why Knowledge Matters, is precisely about this. Knowledge does matter because it improves the quality of our lives. As an example of what I've been trying to do to help progress our knowledge, so to improve our quality of lives, in the film side, you see that I met a 5-year-old blind orphan child from India some years ago, and she was intentionally blinded by her own stepmother, who poured sulfuric acid into her eyes when she was sleeping one night, in an attempt to make cajole a blind orphan child who then can sing on the streets, who then can get more money by begging. Then cajole, after she was maliciously blinded, she was found to have no talent of singing. She couldn't sing. That's why she was abandoned on the street. Our foundation found her in a train station near Calcutta, India, almost died from starvation. 5 years old, blind, could not see. Our foundation brought her to America, and the film's site is Kajole's remarkable journey to try to come from darkness to light. When I first saw her, this is Kajole's eyes, all scarred with blood vessels. There's no treatment. This condition is untreatable. In fact, eye blindness due to trauma and infection is a leading cause of blindness worldwide. So in the film site, you see that I set out a journey to try to bring this blind orphan child back into light. I started doing research, and I found that in order to reduce scar in Kajole's eyes, therefore to restore her eyesight, we have to study fetal wound healing, because a fetus before birth does not scar. But somehow, after birth, we started scarring. So the question is, how do we do research on a fetal tissue to help patient like Kajol restore her eyesight, but at the same time, doing the research without hurting a life, a fetus? In other words, do science and faith have common ground? Do science and faith have common ground? And that brought up the number 4 purpose that I've developed for myself, for my life, after to share what we have, to remember our roots, to progress human knowledge. The number 4 purpose is to find common ground based on our shared humanity. You see, we are living in an unprecedented, polarized, and divided world. We're increasingly fixated on differences rather than appreciating what we all have in common as fellow Americans and fellow world citizens. We're increasingly unable to work across political aisles, racial divides, and ethnic divisions, to solve the problems that we truly need to solve as a society: gun violence, opioid crisis, environmental disaster, racial tension, poverty, education, healthcare, jobs. So it is important to recognize in 21st century, one of the most important tasks for humankind to survive is to find a common ground based on shared humanity. Whether it's a common ground between East and West, common ground between socialistic countries and capitalistic countries, common ground between Republicans and Democrats, common ground between white and black, common ground between nations, and common ground between faith, different faith and religions. Without overcoming the polarization and finding common ground, human race is doomed to extinction. So to help find common ground is the number 4 purpose that I've developed for myself. We even established a common ground network to study the methodology, how to find common ground. You see, common ground is not a compromise. Common ground is the seeking of the underlying truth. We have established the common ground seeking steps, STEPS, the methodology at our foundation, Common Ground Network. S, see the common ground. If we see someone who has different opinions, if we are not even willing to recognize that there could be a common ground that we could find, we will never find it. He, trade places. Instead of speaking the language of the speaker as we normally do as human beings, can we learn how to speak the language of the listener? I learned this as an eye doctor, because if I have to fix your eye problem, I have to recognize that in this 8 billion people planet, you're the number 1 authority about your eye problem, because you're the only person who are seeing through the pair of eyes of yours. No one else is seeing your pair of eyes. So if I have to fix your eye problem, I have to see from your perspective. Because you are the only one who could tell me what you see, what you don't see. E, empathy. My fellow Americans, my fellow world citizens, when we meet someone who is different, what do we tend to do as modern men and women? We sometimes put people down. We sometimes even yell and shout, or even demonizing the other side. But instead, could we try travel the road less traveled? Use the SALT principle, SALT. S, start a conversation. A, ask a question. L, listen. And then and only then, help. P, persevere, pay the price. If the right thing to do, there's a price to pay. And final S is put into action. Actually seek common ground. Do you know who has inspired us to formulate this common ground seeking step? I'm myself a Christian, so I'm inspired by Jesus Christ's life. He saw the common ground with us as human beings. Yes. He traded places with us by becoming one of us. E, empathy. He demonstrated empathy even to the people in the lower surrounding society. Women by the whale story. He paid the ultimate price by dying for our sin on the cross. S, seek. He sought the common ground with us. We even published a common ground Bible story. So returning to the question of try to restore Kajal's eyesight by removing the scar, I started doing research. I pray and start doing research. And I realized that perhaps we can use the amniotic membrane that surrounds each of us before birth. And perhaps the reason we lose the ability to heal without scar after birth is because we lose the membrane protection. So maybe the secret of a fetus, scarless healing, lies in the amniotic membrane. So I went to hospitals, got lots of placentas donated to me by mothers after giving birth to children. The placenta is discarded anyway. I took the placenta in the laboratory, started doing research, and eventually developed the amniotic membrane contact lens. When we put this amniotic membrane contact lens onto injured eyes, magic happened. The eye started to heal as if it were not born yet. Because under the influence of amniotic membrane, we all used to heal without scar. And sight is restored in many of such patients. Then, as I mentioned earlier, I want to share. That's part of my purpose as a human being. I put the patent online, and instantaneously, doctors from around the world immediately learned the technology. And I even went around the world over a 20-year period to 50-some countries, free of charge, taught over 10,000 eye doctors how to use this technology. Today, as shown in the film Sight, amniotic membrane contact lens technology is being used by eye doctors from nearly every nation, and millions of patients have eyesight restored. It's a $5 billion a year industry. And even though, as I said, I did not make any money at all in the whole process because I donated my technology, but I'm happy because I got a chance to share what I have. I've got a chance to help progress the human knowledge, and also I've got a chance to help find the common ground between faith and science, because we use the fetal tissue, amniotic membrane, to help our patient restore eyesight, but at the same time, we did not hurt the fetus, so we preserve life at the same time. As we get older, one of the problems affecting all of us is corneal injuries due to dry eye. This patient had dry eyes, went to different medical centers, could not be helped, painful, could not see for many years. We put the amniotic membrane contact lens on. She's very happy. So amniotic membrane contact lens story you saw, which was shown in the film Sight, not only is a wonderful scientific development that has helped millions, have helped transform the world, but also it shows science and faith do have common ground. You can advance science, fetal tissue research, stem cells, but you can also preserve human life. Finally, I want to share with you all, I live in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA. We got Vision Institute, have some of the best technology because of my dual training, an MD degree in medicine, but also PhD degree in laser physics. I've done lots of research. I published many papers, one in the world-renowned journal, Nature. Also, I was a member of the US FDA ophthalmic device panel, the first Chinese American to serve at that post. And also we have international surgeon training. We have introduced many new technologies, such as state's first all-laser LASIK, the state's first SMILE. Do you know LASIK surgery is going out of date? It's now being replaced by SMILE, small incision LASIK. We also performed the state's first laser cataract surgery. We performed the world's first laser artificial cornea implantation, United States' first Intex for advanced keratoconus, and also FDA clinical trial to treat keratoconus and also presbyopia. You see, doesn't matter who you are and what your age, inescapably, every human being is affected at some point in our lives by one of these or all of these 5 conditions: myopia, nearsightedness; hyperopia, farsightedness; astigmatism, or football shape of your eyeball rather than basketball; presbyopia, reading difficulty over age 45; and the cataract. In year 2025, I have good news to report to you all. We have conquered all 5 conditions. we can treat all 5 conditions, including presbyopia. How do we treat it? Using these top 5 procedures. These are the top-of-the-line laser vision technologies in the world today. My contact information is at the bottom, and every Tuesday, 6:45 Central Time, we conduct a vision Zoom. Left upper corner is SMILE, small incision LASIK. You see, LASIK surgery is going out of date. LASIK is becoming obsolete. It's now rapidly replaced by SMILE, a much better technology, small incision LASIK, which is safer and cause less dry eyes. Lower left corner, implantable contact lens. If you wear contact lenses and you don't want to have to remove every night before bedtime, we got a technology put the contact lens inside of your eyes, so you never need to remove it. In the middle, Forever Young lens for over age 45. This is a magic new surgery. In one surgery, Forever Young lens, in one surgery, we can fix all 5 human eye conditions: myopia, hyperopia, astigmatism, presbyopia, and cataract. You never need to have glasses to drive. You never need reading glasses, and you will never develop cataract. One surgery, once and for all. Finally, cataract surgery on the right can be performed with laser or blade. The latest technology is laser. Despite the fact that these 4 technologies are the best that humankind has to offer in year 2025 to conquer all 5 human eye conditions: myopia, hyperopia, astigmatism, presbyopia, and cataract. But you will be shocked to know that even in the United States and in Western Europe, less than 5% of surgeons are using these top 4 technologies. 95% of them, even in the United States, are still using the older blade technologies. Why? Because medicine is so technologically driven, and most of the doctors are strong trained in medicine, but they are still learning on the technology side. That is why I have published these textbooks to teach eye surgeons from around the world to improve their weak area, which is technology. In contrast to the United States, these top 4 technology are used only 5% of the time. In our center in Nashville, Tennessee, Wang Vision Institute, we use the technology 100%. We're leading the country, number 1 in the United States, in the application of these top technologies. So these are 4 technologies for vision correction. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA. I have my share of star patients: Dolly Parton, Nicole Kidman, and others. I have not forgot that I came from China, so I've been returning to China almost every year in the past 30 years, teach free of charge Chinese eye doctors how to improve the eye care in China. I performed the first all-laser LASIK in China. Today, Wang Vision Institute here in Nashville, Tennessee, we have patients from over 40 states in America and over 55 countries worldwide. So I have shared 4 of the 5 purposes that I've developed for myself as a human being: to share what I have, to remember our cultural roots, to progress human knowledge, to find common ground in the polarized world. The last purpose is to help those who need the most help. And that's my number 5 purpose as human being that I've developed for myself: purpose-driven life. And that is why I have established 25 years ago Wang Foundation for Sight Restoration to help blind orphan children from around the world. Here you see the photo of real Kajol, the real person. As I mentioned, Sight is a movie about these blind orphan children, their remarkable journey to come from darkness to light, and how in the process they have also helped me, their eye doctor, to come from out of my own darkness to light emotionally. I mentioned that during Cultural Revolution in China, I was not allowed to go to high school. I was going to be sent away to labor camp for life. So I learned how to play an instrument, learned how to dance to escape labor camp. Now I use my dancing skill for different purpose. I combine medical charity or foundation and developed the concept called the eyeball. When it comes to eyeball, you see the beautiful dancing that reminds you how precious our sight is as human beings. Because without sight, we would not be able to enjoy all these beautiful things in life, and therefore how much we need to help those who have lost sight. Our foundations help patients from all over the world. Finally, as a Chinese American, as an immigrant, I realized that I also have the duty to help other immigrants and minorities. So I established the Tennessee Immigrant and Minority Business Group 12 years ago to help African Americans, Latino Americans, Asian Americans, businessmen and women, and trying to find a way how together we can help America economy. As a Christian, on Sundays, I often give testimonial about my favorite topic, why I believe God wants science and faith to work together. As minority and Asian American, we need to stand up to fight for our rights. Oh, this is just a tremendous honor that in this Nashvilling of the Year award, one person every year is the first time the Southern City, Nashville, has given this award to an Asian American person. I teach in local Christian university, and about my favorite topic, faith and science have common ground. So today, I talk about a purpose-driven life and why we need to develop a purpose for our lives. As a Christian for myself, science is a tool, faith is the purpose. And many years ago, I wrote up my experience in my autobiography, From Darkness to Sight, which then turned into a movie, Sight. And now I'm going to like to show you a trailer of the movie Sight, which won the Best Picture Award at ICVM International Christian Film Award. Sight. The Sight movie can be seen free of charge at this free link. You can take a picture of this free link on the screen. So here we go. You could turn up your computer volume, enjoy the trailer, Sight.
You are the doctor, they say, who can work miracles.
Hello, Kajal.
Street beggars make more money if they're legitimately blind. So the stepmother poured sulfuric acid in each of her eyes.
Maybe 1% of vision remains. There's no chance to save it. She reminds me of Lily.
I know as long as we are together, we'll be okay. I will always protect you.
There is some part of me that thinks if I can help Kajal out of the dark, maybe
Let's take her!
I can help Lily out of hers.
You cannot change the past, Ming.
She doesn't deserve to suffer anymore.
Thought you said it was impossible.
I have to succeed.
I'm with you, Ming.
Just some things in the past that I can't get over.
Who says you have to get over them?
You cannot change the past, Ming.
I'm Dr. Ming Wang. This powerful new movie from Andrew Studios tells the story of patience that brought me out of darkness and taught me to see again. All of us are a little broken, but by sharing stories with each other, we can come to heal together. Because there's more to life than what we see. Invite your family and friends and share the gift of sight. Sight is in theaters starting May 24th, Memorial Day weekend. Click the link below or visit andrew.com/sight to pre-order your tickets, because there's more to life than what we see.
Did you go what you said was impossible? You see yourself, Maria.
So after 10 years of making the film Sun, the film was rejected by all top 10 Hollywood film distributors, both digital and theatrical, citing they are not as interested in Christian films anyway, but also as a Chinese American film, they believe America would not want to see a Chinese American film without Kung Fu or ancient dynasty. So it looked like this film will be just like all other attempts by Chinese American immigrants to tell their stories in the past. The film will also be buried, just like others in the past. So I decided to take the matter into my own hands. In Cultural Revolution, I fought once for my own future. In America, I fought again, fighting against racial discrimination. Now I can fight again for Chinese Americans so that we can tell our stories for all ethnic people, minorities, immigrants, to tell our stories. So I took the matter into my own hands, took the film around the United States and North America, Canada, did something that unprecedented in US history. The subject of the film took the film free of charge to around the whole nation. In 365 days, I traveled to 40 states in North America, conducted 500 free film shows to 50,000 people. I generated a movement, a telling our story movement, and Jesus' story, because it shows science and faith can work together through amniotic membrane story. So eventually, God answered our prayer, and this film trip telling our story, after 1 year, the Angel Studio decided to distribute the film. Now the film was shown in theaters in the summer of 2024. Now it's in 30 nations and also online. On the screen here, you can see a free link. So you can take a snapshot photo of the screen. I appreciate you sharing this free stream link to friends, because more people watch this film, more people will know about the foundation's work, so therefore more blind orphan children could be helped. So I appreciate your help, everyone, sharing this free site link to as many people to help our foundation, to help more blind orphan children. The film is also made for our next generation to appreciate what they have. Incidentally, I also conduct online monthly Zoom about 事半功倍, a Chinese saying that how to accomplish double in half the time. That the pearls I learned from some of the students who are smarter than me. So every month, third Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, I conduct a Zoom about how to accomplish things more efficiently, how to accomplish double in half the time. If you're interested in receiving a free 事半功倍 book, you can email me your mailing address. You can take a picture of the screen here. And for all of the guests of Why Knowledge Matters, I would like to express my appreciation to you on my behalf and Yanni's behalf attending this event by mailing you a free 事半功倍 book. All you have to do is just email me your mailing address. In summary, today I'm very honored to have the opportunity to give this presentation at Why Knowledge Matters show. And I've specifically developed these 5 purposes for myself for my life, who appreciates the opportunity to live on this planet for a few decades. 5 specific purposes are to share our knowledge with others. 2, to remember our roots and embrace the future. 3rd, to progress human knowledge, improve our lives. 4, to find common ground based on shared humanity. Number 5, to help those who need the most help. So if you ask me, Dr. Wang, behind these 5 specific purposes, to share, to remember, to progress, to find, and to help, what is one singular vision, singular inspiration that has inspired you to formulate and pursue these 5 purposes for your life? My answer is very simple. As one member of human race, I feel privileged to be able to spend few decades on this planet. Never will be able to again. And I want to treasure the experience. I want to do what I can as citizen of one of the world to do one thing and one thing only. That is to help make the world a little better place to live. Thank you. Thank you, Yannick.
Dr. Ming Wang, what an inspiration. And really, everyone who is listening, go now on site.drmingwang.com and get the movie, download it, and also, most importantly, also donate, because it's an outstanding production, outstanding acting. I was really blown away, and I can tell you, I shed a lot of tears because it was very emotional. It was very, very profound, and I still have a lot of questions in regards to this specific movie, because your personal story is quite something that really needs to be shared throughout the world. And it's just outstanding what you have done and the courage that you have. So I would just want to start with asking you, what was it more? Was it more your parents that instilled the drive and the purpose in you? Or was it also at the same time the hardship that you went through throughout your childhood, going through the Cultural Revolution, and so on and so forth? What was it?
Great question, Yannick. I think that your question can be broadened into a even bigger perspective. That is, whatever personality and traits we have as human beings, how do we formulate these traits? I think the perseverance that what you're talking about, I came both from imprinting, being imprinted as a child based on my parents' behavior, how hard they work. Also, later on, based on my own life experience, that further shaped my personality trait, perseverance. I remember as a 3-year-old, we were very poor, living in a one-room house, 4 of us, me, my younger brother, my parents, only one room with no running water, no bathroom, no kitchen, no AC, no heater, no telephone. And we were very poor. We could only afford 8-watt electricity every month. So we have one little tube of light bulb, that's it. When my father handed the light bulb too high, high on the ceiling, the whole room is illuminated, but he could not study. He's a doctor, but we were very poor, even as a doctor. So if he hand the light low, he can read his books, but the whole room is dark. So what's the solution? He found a way. He handed the little one light bulb on the ceiling, but he put 2 chairs on top of each other. He climbed up and sat on the top chair and reading his books, so he's close to the light on the ceiling. So I remember it was in summer, very hot. I was playing on the ground, and I look up, saw my father, who was only in shorts, bare-chested, and he was reading the book with up in the air almost practically on top of the 2 chairs, and with the light closer to his book. And on his back, I saw hundreds of little pearls of sweat. That visual image imprinted me and instilled in my childhood, when I could not reason and could not understand the life's why yet, I started to work hard, not because I knew I needed to, but because the influence of my parents' behavior. The take-home message is that as a child before age 5, that it's actually the time of forming their personality. At the time that as parents, sometimes we feel they just need to be fed. But no, their personality is actually in the most formidable years of development in those early childhood through imprinting. Second half of my perseverance, my personality came from later on struggling, having suffered in Cultural Revolution. If I did not study hard, I would not have future. In America, if I did not fight racial discrimination, I would not realize my childhood dream to become a doctor. After film was rejected by every single major Hollywood distributors, if I did not fight, the film would be buried like all other first generation Chinese American films. So it's through life suffering and failure, if one does not persevere, I learned to persevere.
What do you think is the reason why the film didn't get accepted? Because to me, it seems very strange. What is your view on this? Because it sounds to me very problematic. It doesn't really make any sense to me.
There are two reasons. One is it's a Christian themed film, and it's not the top of Hollywood. But more importantly, is because it's an ancient Asian American film, and the Hollywood distributors is determining whether they want to distribute the film based on past box office success. And for Asian American films, the only type of film that has any box office success are the films with kung fu, Karate Kid, or ancient dynasties. So basically, Asian Americans has been stereotyped, has been reduced to merely having attributes of culture to serve as an entertainment for America. So I want to break that mold. I want to tell the true stories of Asian Americans, immigrant minority, as is our true stories. We know much more than Kung Fu. We have our doctors, engineer, the attorneys and businessmen and women. So I want to tell our stories. But the reason for rejection is because Hollywood has stereotyped Asian Americans and many other minority immigrants. They do not believe America wants to see the stories of minorities immigrants.
How did you handle the hardship during the Cultural Revolution? Because the film really depicts you as incredibly strong, incredibly committed, and really focused on your goal. How was it like? And if you think back to these moments of hardship, how does it make you feel?
I was able to develop a fighting spirit step by step. Yannick, many times I giving presentations showing the film in schools, and students often ask this question: how did you develop the ability to fight? And my answer is like, ability to fight adversities, ability to persevere is like a tree. It needs to be grown from the bottom up. So one needs to learn how to fight by fighting smaller battles and gain more confidence, develop the ability to fight. Then you can later on fight bigger battles. So I learned that early on, if I did not fight, I would not have anything. As a 5, 6 year old, my parents told me that they would never have the money to buy me a toy. I would live through my entire childhood without having a toy. So I either had the choice of suffering, or I had the opportunity to fight, which means I make my toy. So I start picking up scrap papers and scissors and glue, and I start making toys. All my toys I had in my childhood, I made every one of them by my hand. So it's basically it's like being pushed to the Banker River. Your back is against the Banker River. If you fall one more step back, you fall into the river. So you have no option but to fight back. So I have to fight those small battles, build confidence. So later on, I can fight bigger battles, getting to medical school and fighting racial discrimination, and also fighting for opportunity to see for my blind orphan children foundation patients. So my answer is to fight is the heart. One has to want to fight, but also the skill, develop the ability to fight, and has to learn from early on fighting small battles, and winning them, develop more confidence and way to learn how to fight, and then later on fighting big battles. So I always tell the students, do you want to fight? First of all, if you do want to, then fighting small battles, and later on you can develop skill fighting bigger ones.
Yeah, that is beautiful what you're saying. So what would you say someone who faces today hardship and injustices, how should they prepare to really get to these smaller battles and really scaffold it, take on bigger and bigger battles?
I would say the most important question is, it sounds like a very simple question, but surprisingly is the question we ignore. That is, do you want to fight? You see, as human beings, if we really want something, we may or may not be able to get it. But if we really don't want to, we never get it. Interestingly, many of the times, most of the times, human beings, we say we want to fight. In our heart, we really don't want to. We just say it to look good and not to disappoint ourselves. But that is the single most important, hardest question. We have to ask oneself, do I really want to fight? Because if you want to fight, even you can, if you succeed in 1%, still better than 0% if you don't really want to fight. So once one resolved this question, that is really I want to, I'm not doing it to show others, I'm doing it because I'm convinced myself I need to do that. Then the second step is developing the skill by gradually fighting smaller battles, gain confidence, learn how to fight better, and then fight bigger ones. So to answer your question, Yannick, the most important is every one of us need to examine ourselves. Do I really want to fight? If you really want to fight, you may or may not be able to succeed. But if you really don't want to, you will never be able to succeed.
That's really powerful. I'm curious, what is your relationship today to mainland China on a personal level? When you hear, U.S. China relations and really going back what you have been through, how does it make you feel?
Yeah, I think obviously United States and China are going through a tough time. By the mere fact that the United States GDP is approaching, the China's GDP is approaching United States. And China's GDP is 2/3 of United States now. In about 5 years, China will surpass the United States, become the world's largest economy. And whenever the top two nations in the world economically, generally human nature is for power, control, and money, and human nature is polarized and division. And so it's very natural to expect China and the United States to fight because they are the number one and number two economy of the world. However, disengagement is absolutely most stupid policy. Because disengagement is only going to further sabotage the economy of both nations, making both sides suffer. Adam Smith, the classic economics book, The Wealth of Nations, says that trade has net gain. Trade between nations is not a zero-sum game. Trade by China by US product and US by China product generate net gain. The time is over. It's old saying that every country has to manufacture everything. It's stupid. It's out of date. Yannick, if you make tennis shoes, if I make tennis racket, it is stupid for me to learn how to make tennis shoes. It's smarter for me to buy tennis shoes from you and sell you my tennis racket because I know that. If you're a dermatologist and I'm an eye doctor, it's stupid for me to do everything. Learn the skin surgery also. It's much smarter for me to ask you to do my skin surgery, and it's smarter for you to ask me to do your eye surgery. We have to recognize on the world scale, the market scale, the time is over for every nation to be good in everything, for every nation to make everything. It's out of date concept because it says we don't need to trade. Adam Smith said trade generate net value. So it's in the engagement, it is in trade that we can bring people together. It is smarter for America to buy from other countries where they can make better and less expensive than America to make these same products at more expensive rate. It is also smarter for other nations to buy what America can make the best rather than to learn how to make these products themselves. So disengagement is setting human society backwards. Finally, people say, what should the world be? Should it go east, China's way, or should it go west, America's way? Being someone who has lived in both nations, east and west, learned the best of both cultures, what I want to say is this. On the worldwide scale, it's not about the world should go east. It's not about the world should go west. It's about humankind needs to go forward. Learn from each other, buy from each other, trade with each other. That trade is the best way to avoid bloodshed and war.
I really, really appreciate what you're saying, and I'm curious about what you think is the most important variable of the US being such a hub of innovation and of attracting the greatest minds of history, including yourself. You are one of these unicorns. What made you want to go to the US? What was it?
Great question. I would say my answer would be very interesting. It is an accident. It's a fortunate event occurred in history. This country, America, has, because it's an immigrant nation, it's aggregated the best people from all nations, all races, ethnicities, some of the brightest minds who are not satisfied with status quo in their home country, who wants to venture out, who has a venturesome spirit, innovative spirit, the desire to learn, the curiosity. So America has become a magnet to attract the brightest minds from around the world because how America was formed to begin with. It was formed with the best minds from all nations. Now, at the same time, we need to recognize we cannot sit back on our achievement in the past because today the world has become flatter and flatter. Other nations accomplish the same thing better and faster and less expensive. So if we sit back, being complacent, taking the freedom we have for granted, no longer work harder, that historical accident, the fortunate aggregation of the brightest mind from all nations will gradually dissipate. We will fall behind. So we are here because of historical coincidence, because the brightest mind all came to America to build a new future. But we can remain to be here not by continue sit back on past achievement, by recognizing we have to, utilizing our genetics, our heritage here in America, by being more innovative, more adventuresome, more common ground seeking, more respect for all cultural, nationality, and people, more respect for scholarship and research, rather than putting these scientific research down. Because if we put our scientific research down, hurt our brightest minds, reject top quality students, coming to this country. Other country will take advantage of that, take those brightest minds, and we, America, will fall behind, and our way of life will be in jeopardy.
What do you think is the role and the importance of free market in America in terms of its ability to invent and attract talent?
Absolutely essential. America is where we are today because of free market, because of innovative ability, and because this one thing that make America stands out. But we're deviating from that one thing. What is that one thing that truly represents America? That's the reason what attract immigrants like me. Everything I've done in ophthalmology has been attributed to American success because I'm American. I'm an American scientist with Chinese heritage. So what is America truly about? That we need to safeguard the essence of this country, which is in jeopardy now, is this. It's the spirit behind the saying. I may not agree with what you say, but I would defend to my death your right to say it. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what America is about. We cannot deviate from this essence of this country. America is a nation. We can love each other despite the differences. And America is a nation. We can respect each other despite the differences. America is a country that have been shown to be able to overcome our polarization and find that common ground we all share as a fellow Americans. That is this. Doesn't matter which political party, religion, faith, nationality, race, we all have this common ground. We to help restore America. We want to build America.
I think it's so pivotal sometimes, especially someone who comes with a background like you, who went through the Cultural Revolution, who knows how communism, or at least the idea, can actually do with people, how crude and how brutal these ideas can become if the state becomes basically the replacement of God, because there is always that will replace it, right? Whether you believe or not. So, what is your take in terms of societies becoming more and more secular? On one hand, it's a very good thing. On the other hand, it also poses some challenges. What is your take on that, and how do we best navigate these two opposites?
Human nature is for power and control and money. That is why, as a nation, we're so polarized and divided. That's why we're so unable to work across political aisles, racial divides, and ethnic divisions to solve the problem we truly need to solve: gun violence, opioid crisis, environmental disasters, poverty, racial tension, education, healthcare, and jobs. So that's where God comes into place. People sometimes ask me, Dr. Wang, you're a scientist, but you're a man of faith, a Christian. Why? What is the why? What is the importance? What's your point of having a faith? My answer is very simple. Human nature itself is for power, control, and money. Human nature is for division. Human nature is what drives our nation and the world into the deadly spiral of polarization. Human nature is about declaring oneself to be better than others. Human nature is the root cause for thousands of years of bloodshed, wars on this planet. The reason that why I'm Christian, the reason I believe in God is because by heeding a higher calling, in the case of Christians, Jesus Christ, by heeding a higher calling for love fellow human beings, for love for your neighbor, even your enemy, to rise above our human nature for power, control, and money, to truly be a common ground seeker. It's the only way human race can avoid the steady spiral polarization eventually lead to human race extinction. So that is why. The most important reason why I believe, the most important reason I talk about faith, the most important reason I want to find the common ground between faith and science, and between left and right, between east and west, between all sorts of human conflicts, is because I realized that we're all vulnerable citizens of this little piece of flying rock, flying space with 600 kilometers per second, with a maddening speed into the deep recess of the universe, where the great attractor lies, the biggest black hole in the whole universe. Human race can be, the little flying rock Earth could be hit by any meteoroid and end in instantaneous extinction. So as humankind, we have no choice but try to find a way to work together. We are all vulnerable inhabitants of this piece of flying rock. So my point is this: human nature will not lead to unification. Human nature will not lead to common ground. Only through heeding a higher calling above human nature, in this case, God's calling for being love each other, love fellow human being, can we have a chance to travel the road less traveled, to bring our nation and the world from the brink of disaster due to division, back to path towards unity. Find that common ground based on our shared humanity.
What you just said, I will not necessarily agree with all what you have said, because you are the counterexample of the beauty and the goodness of really human nature. So I find this is really powerful. And of course, I think we also have to recognize that there is good and evil or bad, whatever you want to call it, right? I'm curious, what was it specifically about Christianity that you start observing that made you interested, and that you already, well, you were at Harvard and at the University of Maryland and at MIT, you were not yet a Christian, but you started exploring some avenues. So what was it first? And secondly, what was it specifically about Christianity that somehow attracted you?
Great question. In my autobiography, I talk about answer both questions, but I'll summarize in a shorter form. There's a Christian film called God's Not Dead. In that film, God's Not Dead, there's an atheist Chinese student who at the beginning of the film did not believe in God. At the end of the film, God's Not Dead, he stood up in the classroom and was the first one to declare God is not dead. And that Chinese student in the film God's Not Dead is me. It's inspired by my life story. So that's how my life was in terms of faith. I came to this country after suffering during Cultural Revolution. I finally got to free nation. I got a chance to study science. I was not interested in anything else. But then after PhD in laser physics, I got the chance to study my second doctorate degree in medicine. I was at Harvard Medical School, studied the structure of human eye, where my atheist worldview got into trouble. I realized the eye is so complicated, it's just not possible that random collisions, as atheists believe, will form such a beautiful human organ, the eye, in such a short period of time, in 9 months. So I kept asking professors this question. So finally, he took me out for lunch. He asked me, he said, Ming, what's a cross street? I said, that's a car. He said, what's the difference between a car and a human eye? I said, human eye is a lot more complicated. He said, okay. Can you imagine a pile of random pieces of metal on the street form itself into a car? I said, no way. Then I said, how about human eye? Right then, he opened a window in my life, making me realize that the reason a human eye being so complicated yet can form nearly perfectly most of the time in such a short period of time, 9 months, is because it did not form out of randomness. It was formed with a purpose, and that purpose is vision. So there's a designer behind it. There's a creator. However, going from that recognition there's a creator to eventually realize the creator has a name in Jesus Christ, that took me several more years. and through much hardship, as a matter of fact, up and down. So if you want to know the whole process, my entire book is about the conversion story, my autobiography from darkness to sight, which is being adapted to the movie Sight. So I think to answer your question, I found God and Christ through my own life experience, and mainly recognizing the life is so mysterious, so complicated. Without faith, I could not reconcile as a scientist the complexity of life with just random evolution.
Outstanding. I want to ask you something more specifically about eye procedures because I'm always about this, and I just told this to my mother this morning because my brother just did that eye surgery a couple of months ago. Okay, and so I always said today to my mother, I told her that, you know what, I will never ever touch my eye because unless it's really, there is a risk. But otherwise, I will never ever take a risk because every procedure, surgery takes a risk. And even if it's just slightly, and I know also in terms of laser, I have actually friends who it got badly and they really struggle. There's also in Canada some cases, some people can't really go to work anymore. Of course, now you say now laser is basically outdated. So in my case, my prescription is very, very low. So I'm short-sighted, okay? And so, and I also love my glasses. You know why? And I want to know what you actually think about this. But I feel so good about my glasses because it's also a second layer of protection for my eyes. Because the eyes are so important, as you say, right? It's so important. So, what's your take on my view on eye procedures? Of course, I don't know all the background, and I know you are the reference in the world. So I'm curious about what you think.
Great questions, Yannick. You have two separate questions here. One is if one is doing pretty well with glasses, and in fact you like to have a protective shield, glasses in front of you, and you only have very low prescription myopia, nearsightedness, my suggestion to 100 such patients, don't do anything because all surgeries do have risks. And that we only should do any procedure when we are not satisfied with our current status of affairs. Some patients have much higher prescription than you. You see, you remove your glasses, you can still see, you can still read. You can still probably drive reasonably well during daytime, but most of people with higher prescriptions could not do that. So they have a much higher dependence on glasses, and when they are without glasses, they are not even safe. So first question is, if I'm doing pretty well with glasses, should I consider surgery? My answer is no. Only consider surgery when there's a need, when you're not happy with the way you are right now, because all surgery has potential risks and complications. And so that's number one. Number two question is you're saying if one wants to do surgery, one does have the need. What's the chance of risk and how do we deal with that? It's very important to recognize no surgery is 100%. And I just want to mention myself in my hand. Our success rate is very high. My success rate is 99.8%. That means 99.8% of my patients have been able to get rid of glasses. But still 0.2% could not. They still need a little bit glasses because their healing is not exactly to the target. So if someone say, I absolutely do not want to have any chance of ever needing glasses, I want 100% success. My answer is very simple. Do not do any medical procedure electively if you can help it, because no surgery can offer you 100%. However, 99.8% success is reasonably good. And as I mentioned, I've done 55,000 laser vision corrections, including on over 4,000 doctors. So therefore, for patients who do have the need, may not be you, but someone else who has much higher prescription, have astigmatism. Without glasses, they really cannot function well, and who can take very small risk, recognizing the chance of getting rid of glasses may not be 100%, then it could be appropriate option for them.
Tell me a little bit about how grateful you are towards your parents. I know your father passed away, but your mother is still alive, but also to your wife that you really met during you struggling finding a solution for Kajal. So tell me a little bit about how these relationships have formed and really also to some extent changed your life today.
Great question. I think as human beings, sometimes we have not put as much importance to the role that people around us play. And I want to be the one who doesn't recognize that importance. Without my parents who have imprinted me with the desire to persevere, to overcome difficulty as a child. Without my parents supporting me as an adult and all my colleagues and friends, and also in the case of my wife, helped me going through difficult times through our foundation's work in helping these kids. With all the support, I would not have today. So that is why I made the film Sight and dedicated film to my parents. I want to be a human being who does recognize where I came from. I want to be a human being who does not forget who has brought me to this world, who has educated and fed me and given me the support. Not just my parents, everyone around me. And it's that attitude of gratefulness, that appreciativeness that I build the foundation because I want to pay forward. I want to help others who needs help.
You are such an inspiration and you really live that this American dream and really this mentality of making it different, of changing people's life and truly being the change that people want to see in the world, right? So how does it look like a day in your life when you go up from the morning up to the evening? What do you do? Walk us through of how it is to be really in your shoes.
Great question. Great question. I talk about Shiban Gongbei today, which is spending half the time accomplishing double, the 77 pearls I've learned in life, which has mentioned to your audience that anyone who is interested, they can email me their mailing address. I will send them little booklet. I'm actually holding one right here. It's called Shiban Gongbei. It means spend half the time accomplishing double. 77 pearls. You can spend 10 minutes finish reading the whole book. And Yannick, you can email me your address. I will mail you a copy. And June 18th, Wednesday, the third Wednesday of every month, I give it a Zoom telling the stories behind these pearls because I'm all about sharing what I have. One of the questions that people always ask me two questions in my lifetime. One is, how many hours do you have in a day, Ming? 24, 40 hours or something? My answer always surprised them. I said, sometimes I feel like I have 72, 96 hours. Why? Because I study these Shiban Gongbei pearls and how to do things more efficiently, how to accomplish double in half the time. So again, June 18th, Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Time is the Zoom. And second, another question that people ask me all the time is that how come you're always optimistic? So keep on going at things every day with energy and interest. And my answer is also very interesting. I realize that as human beings, we tend to define our happiness incorrectly. We tend to define our happiness as if we do something, have we accomplished it? Did it succeed? And because all of us, we do things sometimes successful, sometimes unsuccessful, let's say 50% unsuccessful, me, myself included, then 50% of the time we're unhappy because 50% of the time things did not work out. Many years ago, I recognized the pitfall. I redefined my happiness. The definition of happiness, I changed my happiness definition from whatever I done, did it succeed, to whatever I done, have I done my best? So once I change the definition of happiness, everything I do always maximize my effort, do my best. Why? Because afterwards I want to look back and be happy. Because I'm a human being too. I want to be happy. So I look back. If I try my 99% effort, then I'm happy. Doesn't matter what the outcome, because my definition of happiness is if I've done the best. And it's become a positive loop. Because I want to be happy, I want to look back to see I've done my best. Because I want to look back to see that I've done my best, then whatever I'm doing in the future, I try to do my best because I want to look back and be happy. So this a positive loop result in the thing that whatever I do, I always do my best. And every day I go up with this renewed definition of happiness. I want to set out my day. Today I say, well, whatever I will be trying to do today may or may not be successful. Medical surgery, seeing patients, foundation, common ground, the promoting the film site so more people would see through the free link, so more people know about foundation work. This work may or may not be successful, but I want to do my best, edit my best effort because I want to look back later to be happy with the fact that I've done my best. So this is a positive loop. To answer your question, every day I go out and with singular inspiration. That is, I'm going to do my best, whatever I'm doing today, because I want to be happy looking back. So life is not about arriving, having arrived. Life is not about having arrived. Life is about the process of arriving.
I want to also ask you about this process specifically because you are still to some extent, because there are scars that we face in life that never heal, right? And you have witnessed this in terms of when adult gets older, but if you're still in your womb, right? Scars in the womb of a baby heal, right? And so how do you deal with the fact that there are still people that you mourn, you have, and the film shows a fictive character of Lily that is basically two people, and because of also security concerns, of course, how do you deal with the fact that you might never ever meet these people again? How do you reconcile? How do you live and go forward with your life? I know now you have your wife and so on and so forth, but still, there's something extremely profound. That's why I told you I had to weep really twice when I watched it. Really about this deep story, which was so powerfully also portrayed.
Yeah. I was stuck in the past, suffering and pain with the loss of Lily and suffering during Cultural Revolution for many years after I came to America. And what has set me free is becoming a Christian to recognize that God is in control and I don't have the responsibility of having to right every wrong. I just have the responsibility of going forward, doing everything from now on the best I could. And the second thing that set me free is what I mentioned, that I redefined my happiness from the objective outcome to subject effort. So I'm able to be at peace with the past and move on. You know, the tagline of the film site is the present is made possible by the past, but also the future is created by the present. I recognize that I cannot change what has happened, but I may have a hand in shaping what is to happen. And that's my focus. I'm only focused going forward. And that realization has liberated me, has enabled me to move on. I think all of us as human beings, we need to go through that process. How do we become at peace with what we have gone through? And recognizing we cannot forget them because past is what made our present possible. But at the same time, we need to move on and to embrace the present future.
There is much more to life than simply sight. Elaborate a little bit on this sentence and what you mean and what it also means to you personally.
There's more to life than what we see. And that's the ending of the film, the last line expressed by my character. And the meaning is, I've come to realize that there are two kinds of sights, physical sight and emotional, spiritual sight. Physical sight is what we actually see physically in our world, and is what every day I do to repair the physical side of my patients through my laser vision correction, and also through my nonprofit work through foundation for blind orphan children. Now, there's another side that is the emotional, spiritual side. That is to recognize that there are things that beyond our physical, that's the mental aspect. And the emotional side includes, for example, be able to change our definition of happiness from this objective outcome to subjective effort. And that's an emotional side, redefinition of happiness. That's done intentionally. That is being able to see the happiness even through actual objective failure, but see the happiness because we are putting the maximum subjective effort as such. So the ability to let go in the past is ability to see the future. That's an emotional side. The ability to see that we need to heed a higher calling in Christ, in God, to overcome our low division, the human division polarization based on human nature for power, control, and money. And that is a spiritual side. And the ability to see the common ground between faith and science, the ability to see the common ground between nations, and that's the emotional and physical side. So all these deeper realization, the division, we can overcome the division to find the common ground in the human race, and that is an emotional side. And we need both. We need physical side to see object clearly, physically, medically, but also we need the emotional side to see that ultimately human race, if we want to survive, we have no other choice but try to find a way to work together.
Seems that Dr. Ming Wang doesn't have a life balance because everything is just integrated of who he is. Is there one moment or some moments in a day where you can just disconnect of your scientific but also of your purpose that's also based on deep faith in God and Jesus Christ?
Yes, I have. It's like a rubber band. You cannot always taught yourself to relax, right? I have my realization moments, and it was done intentionally. I let go all this bigger goals in life and trying to just relax, have a good time. And one way of being able to find relaxation by intention, discipline. If I could just doing work all the time, but no, I deliberately set aside certain time to enjoy life itself, uh, with my wife, with our 4 cats and 1 chicken, and also with my ballroom dancing. I train 3 times a week, and in international ballroom dancing, and I'm currently among the top 12 in the United States now in the Pro-Am international ballroom dancing. I'm getting ready for a major competition coming up in a few weeks. And through dancing is not only relaxation away from the tension, but also it's an appreciation of life itself. It's a sort of a stop and smell the roses, so to speak, and see the beauty of life itself. And the dancing is very beautiful. It's a combination of science and which is the physics and the music, and it's a way to combine left and right brain together. To It's a way to, as I said, stop and smell the roses a little bit.
Just give us a couple of details what you do when you just have fun with your wife and the cats, or is it going to out for dinner, or what is it specifically that you do besides the dancing?
Yeah, spontaneity. Just like 2 nights ago, my wife came to me and said, "Honey, do you want to go to the movie?" It was like 7 o'clock at night. And I said, "Sure. What you want to watch?" She said, "Karate Kid, the new movie." And actually, the lead actor in Karate Kid played me in the film set. I said, "Oh, sure." So instantaneously, we jump into the car, went to the movie theater, grabbed popcorn, and leaned back the recliner chair to enjoy the movie Karate Kid to see Ming Wang, who played the lead role in Karate Kid. He who also played me in the film site. So that's an example of this being spontaneous. And in other words, we can't we cannot take ourselves too seriously. We should recognize that, you know, life, it's not that heavy. Life could be very light. As a matter of fact, there's a movie called The Unbearable Lightness of Being. Daniel Day-Lewis. It's recognized that we need to be able to pick up, we need to be able to put down also. It's the recognition of the insignificance of each one of us, how minute we are in a 93 billion light years diameter universe, in a universe that we are so unbelievably small and insignificant. That can we find that balance between joy and work, between tension and relaxation, and between left and right brain, and between logic and artistry?
What's your number one advice to start truly living as you do? What is the advice that you give our listeners and viewers today that they should start doing if they don't do it yet?
My why is very simple. This is it. We have one chance to make our life more meaningful in a few decades of life we spend on this planet. Afterwards, we may go into heaven or hell, depends on what we have done, right, on this planet. And that's up to God. But what is up to us now is what we do now. The experience we have is the only experience we will have on this planet. So make best of it. It is that realization, the vulnerability of life, is the realization of vulnerability of human race on this flying rocket, which could be hit by any meteoroid anytime. That I feel that we need to overcome our division, polarization, and find that common ground to realize that life is precious. The experience of being a human being is precious. So we may need to make best out of it by being able to overcome our natural tendency of polarization, division, and for money, power, and control, and rise above, just like Christ. Travel the road less traveled, to love each other, to reunite, and to find that common ground as human beings again.
Last question. What makes you truly feel alive?
Great question. I think I feel about life when I hear beautiful words. That carries with it, I realize, the rhythm of life, the beauty of life, the mortality of it, the preciousness of it, the vulnerability of it, accident, sickness, that not out under our control, and therefore the preciousness. And it's out there. It's waiting for us to capture that beauty. It's waiting for us to enjoy that beauty. And not only for ourselves, but also for the people who could not enjoy all that beauty. For what I do are the blind orphan children. They could not see, they are living in darkness, but they have the least voice. They get the least help. So by helping them, number one, I'm connecting to them because I used to be in darkness myself as a young person. So I know how they feel. But also, I feel that without being able to see, one is missing the biggest part of being a human being, the human race experience. So I want to help people see.
Dr. Ming Wang, one of the greatest scientists of the 21st century, thank you so much for being on the show, for your time, and for being truly a blessing to me and truly to the world. And what's most important, in my view, is your humanity. It's just your authenticity. You're just an amazing, wonderful human being. Just how I got to know you. We are basically the first time we really talking to each other. And that's, I think, is the most important thing, that you are beyond, anything we can imagine. But your humanity, your way of being, who you represent, is truly inspiring. Thank you so much, Dr. Ming Wang, for being on the show.
Thank you for the honor, and to be on your show, Why Knowledge Matters. I want to add that I'm just like another human being, not better, not worse. We're all doing different things in life, and I hope today's my purpose that I share will inspire your viewers, and so everyone you out there, formulate your own purpose, and think, reflect, meditate, and feel what God wants you to do. You may be an engineer, you may be businessman or women, and then God will have a specific purpose for you. It's not going to be exactly what I do, vision surgery, but will be something specific to you. It is about rising above human nature that tends to go for power, control, and money that result in division and polarization of the human race. And that's walked out, leaving the show with a new vision beyond physical vision, an emotional vision, a spiritual vision that we each of us can do, change what each of us does in terms of love each other despite the difference. The next person you meet who are different, can we try the soul principle? Can we love that person despite the difference? Can we recognize ultimately we all human beings, we all vulnerable, we all should experience and treasure this is it experience. Thank you.
Dr. Ming Wang. That's why knowledge matters. Make your life a masterpiece. Visit now programs.d-ykm.com. Meant to